We too often falter in our faith, feeling that somehow we have to deserve an answer from God before He will ever hear or ever respond to us. We feel like we have to crawl our way to the altar and pay the penance for the wrongs that we have done along the way. That somehow God is just mildly, if not greatly, displeased with us every day of our life because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We didn't pray like we were supposed to pray. We didn't read like we were supposed to read. We didn't fast that day that we said we were going to. We stopped by Crescent Donuts and we had donuts all the way to work that day instead. We just weren't the person that we needed to be. We had the thoughts in our mind that we should not have. We said the words that we should not have said. And so we feel like, or possibly it goes even further in the path of our life, that we knew better, but yet we still did it. That we once knew God and now we find ourselves a little bit distant from Him, and we forget that the Father stands on the porch looking for the prodigal to come home while he is yet a great way off. And so we feel like that we have to walk up and say, I'm no longer worthy to be called thy son. That's who we are. We feel like we have to pay the penance to God, and that's what we have to do before He'll ever love us again or forgive us. Maybe that's why it took him. Maybe that's why it took Jonah 3 days to pray. It was the third day that Jonah prayed. You understand this? He was swallowed by the fish, and then 3 days later he prayed a 55-second prayer. Yes, I timed it, that God answered immediately. It took him 3 days to pray a 55-second prayer that God answered immediately. 3 days in the belly of that beast, and then he prayed. 3 days of wallowing in self-pity, maybe. 3 days of being ready just to die. 3 days of being mad about it, being bitter, being hurt. 3 days of waiting on God to do something about it. We all have been there 3 days. Surrounded by fear and frustration, trying to figure out how we got there or what went wrong or what we did wrong, or somehow it must be what we're going through right now, that God's making us pay for what we did along the way. No. The divorce, the diagnosis, the depression, the problems, the pain, the hurt, the hate, we get stuck there in those places sometimes and we wonder what to do. What must be done is what Jonah did. Then Jonah prayed. Come on, you're not going to walk out of this place today hearing something from the Minor Prophets and thinking that, oh, I never heard that before. It is simple as that. When Jonah found himself in a circumstance and a place where he recognized what was wrong, he simply prayed. Why is it that we complicate the grace of God? Why is it that we frustrate the mercy of God? Come on, if you are going through something today, if you are dealing with, it may have been 3 days, it may have been 3 years, it may have been 30 years, I don't know. But can I tell you, the grace of God is sufficient today if you will just simply pray. Sometimes we're pushed there. Sometimes it's by our own invitation, by our own wrongdoing, by our own faults and failures, by something that somebody else said. Come on, somebody. Something that somebody else might have done to us. But nonetheless, the weeds get in our head. But as difficult as it was, as dark and depressing and deep as it could be, it was there that he prayed. And it is there that we must pray as well. It is the place that we have to learn to pray from. For when Jonah prayed, then the Lord spoke.